Welcome everyone to another episode of the Spring Forward podcast. I'm your host, Spring Richardson-Perry, and today we have a truly remarkable guest with us, Claudio Reilsono. Thank you so much, Claudio, for being here, and please tell me if I pronounced your last name correctly.
Came close. First of all, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And it's Reilsono, but that's good. I get all kind of pronunciations, but that's good. You were very close.
Reilsono, I'm sorry. I have been
No.
butchering these names. I have a French background, and so anything outside of that is like,
That's okay. It's all good. I mispronounce it myself once in a while.
Well, I am so excited to have you here today, Claudio. You've certainly had an impressive journey as the general manager and professional baseball scout at the Global Scouting Bureau. That was like over 2 decades, right?
Yeah, that came to me in January of 2001.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I went to see a friend of mine fight, Vinny Pazienza, Hall of Fame boxer at Foxwoods Casino. So I wanted some reading material, and I came across this little blurb of a box talking about European baseball, and I said, well. And again, my goal, and I know we'll get to it, was to work in professional baseball. And at that time, I was climbing the ladder pretty good. Then I disappeared for a couple of years. Then I started coaching at a very small Catholic high school, Quigley Catholic High School, which I loved coaching there for a whopping $800 a year. But in November of 99, I saw this little ad. So I decided to call the company. And I said, well, I can read, write, and speak Italian. So maybe I can be a liaison of sorts or whatever. So for, I'd say 3 to 4 times a month through phone calls and a new thing called email, I connected with James Gamble, the owner of the Global Scouting Bureau. And in January of 2001, he offered me the job as a professional baseball scout. In 2002, I became general manager, and I'm still with the company. Just got off the phone with James minutes ago, and a blessing beyond belief to work with him and to have our dreams, meaning my parents and I, dreams come true.
That's amazing. I love that story. And then your journey is just so impressive. You also spent 19 years as the head baseball coach it was Carnegie Mellon, right?
Carnegie Mellon University here in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
19 years with them. And I love that school, love the players I've been blessed to coach. So I get to have my cake and eat it too. I get to scout professionally and coach collegiately, and I do a lot of baseball training as well. But I'm just grateful every day for those opportunities, for sure.
You literally wear many hats, not just your baseball hat, right?
I do. I own a landscaping business. I have for 30, it's going on 36 years that my dad started years ago. And I also host or co-host 6 TV, radio, podcast shows. I do some speaking. I wrote a book. And I'm involved in some other companies as a consultant and things like that. And I'm sure we'll get to that later as well. But yeah, I do all kind of different things. And, my dad years ago told me never put all your eggs in one basket. And that's what I teach my daughter to do as well. Plus, I enjoy doing different things, and I'm able to spin all these dishes and do them well. I don't do any of them half-hearted. I don't do any of them, they're all going well, and it takes a lot of work. And at the same time, I also am a husband and a father. So somehow I'm able to do all these things.
Trust me, I understand. I wear many hats as well. And so trying to figure out, as you probably can hear in the background, for those of you listening and not watching, my daughter is right here with me, as she is usually my little co-host. Sometimes you see her, sometimes you don't. But trust me, I understand when it comes to wearing many hats. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. We'll get to you telling us about your book, Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up. But I really want to just talk about how you got to where you are today, because you have such a diverse background with all the experiences that you had. What led you to starting those things, and how did you get to where you are right now?
Well, it all starts. I thank God every day. My prayers pretty much could consist of just thank you and leave it at that. But, and I've had plenty of ups and downs, plenty personally and professionally. But really, and there's another old Italian saying, if you ever see a turtle on top of a fence post, you know he didn't get there alone. My parents were unbelievable, unbelievable. I could not have asked for better parents. I can't say one bad thing about my parents. I miss them tremendously. I try to honor them with numerous things. But it all started for me, really. I can tell you the exact date. It was August 19th, 1973. My uncle used to work at Three River Stadium, where the Pirates and Steelers used to play. Well, my mom and dad were from Italy. They like boxing and soccer. So I really wasn't introduced to baseball. So I went to my first game, and I I just got hit with a thunderbolt. It's like when you fall in love with somebody, love at first sight. For me, as soon as I saw that stadium, Three River Stadium, something was going on. Then he took me down to the locker rooms, and I saw these big guys wearing these bright white uniforms, joking around and talking to me. I didn't even know who they were. Then I went on the field by myself. It was around 10:30 in the morning, and it was a 58,000 seat stadium. The only people who were on that field were the grounds crew and myself. And I knew that I loved where I was. This is before the game even started. And I remember coming home through these doors. This is the same house I grew up in. I've never left. And about 5 yards from where I'm sitting, my dad said, "Did you have a good time?" I said, "I did, but I think I know what I want to do with the rest of my life." And he said, "What's that?" I was 8. He said, "What's that?" I said, "I want to be in professional baseball." That's all I said. And he said, "Okay, if that's what you want to do, me and your mom will give you every opportunity in the world to make your dreams come true." And my mom, said, "As long as you're a good boy and you don't get hurt, you do good in school, we'll be there for you and we'll support you." And they did. And
That is
yeah, and that's how
beautiful.
that started. I'm sorry.
That is beautiful for your parents to, I mean, as parents, we want the best for our kids. And sometimes we impress those things on them, like the things that they want. Sometimes we kind of overlook that, right? But the fact that your parents were able to take a step back and say, we're going to support you to live out your dreams, that is beautiful. And at 8 years old, because at 8 years old, I'd be like, boy, you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life. What are you talking about?
Exactly, exactly. They were, and along the way, and I'm going to be honest with you, there were some family members that were not so positive and wanted to see me fail and were against me and just kept pounding me and saying things like, "Time to quit baseball, grow up and be a man, be realistic, it's a pipe dream, get a real job," and all that kind of stuff, because it wasn't a direct line. It wasn't, okay, do good in baseball, do this, do that, and there you get your job. No, it was up and down, ups and downs. And my parents were always there. They stuck up for me. They believed in me. They inspired me. And like I said, I guarantee you that if it wasn't for my mom and dad, I would not have the life I have. I wouldn't have the career I've had. They gave me the opportunity, and I will be forever grateful. And I'll also be grateful, Spring, for the people who were against me, because I was not going to let them win. They say your worst enemy can be your best ally, and it's how you look at things. And I was not going to let them win. I was, not that they didn't believe in me, but they didn't want it to happen. And that's really that's on them, not me, because I cared for these people and they broke my heart. But then I said, you know what? I'm gonna make sure that I accomplish these things. The best revenge to live well or to succeed.
Exactly.
And that's what thankfully happened.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like I said, they don't mean any harm, but they see things through a different lens. And so they're not able to really relate to the way that you're feeling because of the experiences that they've had or the things that, just the things that they've gone through. They don't see things the way that you see things. And your optimism probably was a little intimidating to them.
Well, that is certainly a great point, and in some cases that is very true. Unfortunately, in my case, it was, and I'm nothing to be jealous of, but you shouldn't be jealous of anybody because you don't know the path. You don't know the obstacles, the internal obstacles, the physical obstacles that one has to make or get, and incurs to get where they have to go. They just didn't want to see me fail, and they had great lives. They were very successful in life. They just didn't want me to have my piece of the pie. And I never once bragged about anything. I'm extremely confident in what I can do, but they were. So I know what you're saying, but they knew what they were saying. They just wanted to see me fail, and
That makes me sad.
it was hurtful. It was hurtful.
Yeah, that's very hurtful. That makes me sad. So that brings me to your book, Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up. And this really suggests a unique approach to leadership. And I'm sure it encompasses some of the experiences that you've had with those family members. And so can you talk to us about that, about your book and what's all in it?
Well, the title came from my mom, who always used to say, never speak from the neck up, speak from the heart up. They used to say, Roberto Clemente, who was one of my heroes, he couldn't order a cup of coffee without passion, right? So care about what you say, care about the people who you say it to, and mean what you say. So I, as a leader, it all stemmed from, it hit me one time, and I kind of opened the book with it. In 1993, I was coaching at Community College of Beaver County, and it was a back and forth game. I was 27 years old, I believe. It was a back and forth game. We win the game, and my players are congratulating me, hugging me, high fives, the whole 9 yards. And at the end of the game, I'm in my office, and I said, why is it that these players, all my career at that point, are so good to me? Why do they listen to me? Why do they want to win for me? And it hit me, two things. Number one, I'm approachable. Number two, I care. So the theme of the book is something I picked up from Dick Vermeil, Super Bowl winning coach for the St. Louis Rams, Hall of Famer. He said that your players and or your people, they won't care how much you know till they know how much you care. My players know that I care about them as people first. People first. Okay. Then now you may say, well, Claudio, how about disciplinary actions? How about if somebody acts up? Well, yeah. Like, for example, today outside, it's raining. What kind of an idiot would I be if I walked outside in the pouring rain with this suit and just get drenched? No, I put up an umbrella. If it's hot out, what kind of an idiot would I be if I wore, 3 coats and gloves and a scarf? So in other words, when it's hot out, I wear shorts. When it's cold out, I wear a jacket. When it's raining, I put up an umbrella. If the player, I'll give you a quick story. On my birthday, we had a game. This is years ago. And at the end of the game, which we won, thankfully, one of my players had organized a birthday cookie for me where the team would present a birthday cookie to me and sing happy birthday. And I was touched. It meant the world to me. Okay. You have no idea, Spring. I was just touched.
That is so sweet.
It was very sweet. But the next day, that same player kind of didn't run out of the batter's box after he hit a ball as fast as I wanted him to. So what did I do? Did I say, well, you know what? He bought me a cake. I'll let it go. No, I got on him because that's what he deserved. Okay. So like my parents adored me. Trust me when I tell you, they adored me. But if I did something a little bit off, get out of the lane, man, did I hear about it, especially from my mom. Okay. So my mom, 1 minute will give me hugs and kisses. Next minute, she'd be hollering at me about something. Right. So the whole book is, yes, care about your players as people first and as players, but in the games, if you have to discipline, if you have to get mad, if you have to get on somebody, you get on them, and you don't. I can't meet. I'm not wired to let somebody walk on me or disrespect me. Those are my 2 biggest pet peeves. Don't disrespect me. Be loyal. 3, be loyal. Don't disrespect me, and be considerate. Those things mean the world to me. And if you disrespect me, then I'm not going to like it. So, but that's what the book is. It has numerous stories on some ways I was mistreated from leaders, and I never mistreated anybody, but I made some mistakes as a leader. Okay. Not many, but maybe a few here and there. And so it's basically treating people well, because if you treat people well, they'll in turn treat you well.
Absolutely. And you have to consider it can't just always be about you, right? Like you have
Right.
to consider other people. That's all a part of emotional intelligence. Being self-aware, but being aware of how your interactions, how your words, how the things that you do affect other people. And I think that's probably what I'm hearing the most is what people can take away from your book in terms of like leading on the field and off the field, right? Because you take a lot of those experiences from on the field and you put them in an office setting, and I love that. And so,
treating people, you treat people good. How simple is that, right? But at the same time, there's another story in there. There was a kid who's a great young man, extremely successful now. Well, at a game, he kept missing signals. He did some things messed up, and I got on him. And I mean, I really got on him. He looked at me, Spring, as if his heart was broke, and it hit me. I can't treat him that way. Now, there's other kids you can get on them and they'll run through a wall and they're good. This kid was a little more sensitive, which is okay. So I had to, next time he messed up, I had to be a little bit different. I had to put my arm around and say, look, this is why you did what you did. Let's fix it. Where the other one, maybe you can get on him. So you treat everybody equally, but you don't treat everybody the same. Okay. And that everybody's different, but yet we all do want treated well. And in the book, I had about 27 players. I said, just write whatever you want about our relationship. And I was blown away at the kind things they said. And it was more about life experiences than it was teaching them how to hit a fastball.
I love that. And leaders, this is something to take away from here, is that while you manage so many different people, you're leading all different types of people, you have to recognize who responds to what type of reprimand or interaction or coaching, what have you, whatever you want to call it. But you have to recognize what people respond to and play to those strengths, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get what you need from them. And in that moment, I'm so glad you recognize that because he could have blew the game for you, I'm sure, if you had continued to interact with him in that way.
Right.
So that's awesome.
You treat people the way you want to treat them.
The way you want to be treated. Absolutely. And again, you would think that that's just a normal concept that, hey, we should all understand that. But some people really have a hard time with that. And, it's really interesting because, again, all of your experiences, they've contributed to helping businesses and individuals just succeed. And so talk to us about that. How do you use these experiences that you've had on the field and off the field to help people just in their daily lives?
I've been so fortunate to be involved in so many different things in the sports world, in the media world, in the business world. And really, it's all about sharing experiences. And I'll say this, and again, this is a little story in the book. I'm not trying to push the book, but there are some people out there who have these events where they teach you how to lead. They teach you how to sell. They teach you. Meanwhile, they never sold anything other than their own product. They never led anybody. They're just, So in the book, I have a story where my dad was talking to this lady, very nice lady. She was much younger than my dad. She was a professional student. And they were talking, my dad used to work in the mill for years. And they were discussing about why the steel mills closed in Pittsburgh. And this one lady, she said, my dad's name was Olindo. She said, Olindo, they closed because of this. My dad said, no, Mrs. Smith, they closed because of that. No, they closed because of X, Y, and Z. And my dad said, no, Mrs. Smith, they closed because of 1, 2, and 3. And I was right there. And she said, Lindo, I studied it. My dad said, Mrs. Smith, I lived it, right? So the things that I talk about, yes, I read stuff every single day. I study constantly. I study people. I read books. I listen to podcasts, shows. But I've lived the things that I talk about. I've had my hands in the soil. I've made mistakes. I've had successes. I've dealt with great people. I've dealt with bad people. I whatever story or whatever issue that you're dealing with as a company, okay, I can pull out, dating myself, the Rolodex or a notebook or the computer, the database, whatever, and there's a story that I can flip through. Yes, I remember that when that happened to me, or if I was a part of it or witnessed it, and I can share my story and break, because like in hitting, for example, I'm very good at teaching hitting, right? Or recognizing a problem with a hitter. When you're not doing well as a hitter, you don't need me to complicate things and make things even harder, right? You want things to be made simple. When you're having a problem, I don't care what it is, okay? You want the person who's trying to fix it to come up with a simple resolution, a simple problem, or a simple answer. So that's what I do. I said, okay, for me, I remember when this happened, and this is how I dealt with it, and this is what happened after I dealt with it the way I did. And the book, like I said, it's good for coaches and CEOs and families, whatever, leaders, and I use my experiences, the good, bad, and the ugly, to teach, to help that person, that company, get through whatever issue they're going through.
And sometimes you just need a different perspective, and that makes a world of difference. And so I'm really loving this. I love how you're using the experiences that you've had to really help people in their business, in their lives, and just really help them accomplish the goals that they set out to accomplish. Because a lot of times we just need, like I said, a different perspective, and it just makes all the difference in the world. And so I want to move into just this final thing. I know you've had some pivotal moments in your life. And so what recall some of these times that have really helped to shape who the person you are today.
There certainly have been. And obviously, I mentioned August 19th, 1973. That started it all. That was it right there. As an 8-year-old kid, I was presented with this dream and a couple other ones. And when I talk, I use these couple stories. August 19th, 1973, that day, I was 8 years old. The starting pitcher, his name was Jim Rooker. Jim and I are very good friends. We play in celebrity golf tournaments together. The first baseman's name was Al Oliver. Al and I were inducted into the same Hall of Fame 2014, and we're friends. The second baseman's name was Rennie Stennett. He invited me to the 79 Pirate reunion, which was a great event for me. The left fielder's name was Willie Stargell, and I won a Willie Stargell Lifetime Achievement Award, and the opposing pitcher's name was Juan Marichal. I signed Juan Marichal's nephew to a pro contract. So my point is, when I was 8 years old and you told me, come here, Claudio, little 8-year-old Claudio, these things are going to happen to you someday. I said, you're crazy. What are you talking about? But they did. Now, fast forward to July of 99. I'm in my house. I'm by myself, or my dad was downstairs and my wife lives, she was working. And I was watching the All-Star game from Boston at Fenway Park. I'm here home alone. And at the time, I'm coaching at Quigley Catholic High School for $800 a year, about as far away from my dream as you can possibly get. So the ceremonies, pregame ceremony was, they had the all-time All-Stars, which the guys I grew up watching. Oh my God, it was great. Then they had the current All-Stars. Oh, it was great. Then they bring in Ted Williams. Now remember this, Ted Williams in a golf cart, and he tips his hat to the Boston fans, and everybody's emotional and crying. And I'm saying, wow, this is why I love this game. This is why I want to work in baseball, right? And then it hit me, Spring. I'm about as far away from my dream as you can possibly get. $800 a year, professional baseball, right? Fast forward to 2001. I have to go to the Major League Baseball. I got my job with the Global Scouting Bureau, pro. I have to go to the Major League Baseball winter meetings. Where were one of the meetings held at? Boston, Fenway Park. Great. Unbelievable, right? Then fast forward to the next year. Who do I sign to a pro contract? Ted Williams' son, who was in the golf cart with him, John Henry Williams. So you see what I'm saying? And then who was next to Ted Williams? Juan Marichal, who was at that first game that I ever went to. It's crazy. I went to Fenway, signed Ted Williams' son. I mean, these things actually happened to me. So
That's amazing.
It is amazing. If these things can happen to me, they can happen to you. And the other pivotal moment for me was in 2007. I was at my friend Vince Kaplak's house. His son was having a birthday party. So I was leafing through one of Vinny's magazines, and it had a Where Are They Now? Greg Norman, the golfer. And he was always my favorite golfer. But I was reading that he was writing a book. It was going to come out in a month or two. And he had golf course. I knew he had clothing. I knew that. But he had golf course design. He sold beef, wine, GPS. He had real estate. He had he had like,
oh my goodness,
17 different things under his umbrella of Shark Enterprises at the time. Now it's just called the Greg Norman Company. And I said to myself, when I read the book, I can do that. I can do different things. And I remember my dad saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So that moment, I said, okay, maybe not to the $400 million level that Greg Norman's doing, but I can do different things. And that's when it hit me. Okay, I coach, I scout. I want to still in landscape business. I want to speak. I want to write a book. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I've been fortunate enough through hard work and through opportunities to do those things. So I'd say August 1973, July of 99, it hit me. And then the fall of 2007, to go out and do more things. And then, of course, meeting my wife in April of 87. And then, having my wife, Linda, we've been married for 25 years, and a wonderful, I couldn't ask for a better wife or daughter, Ida, named after my mom. So there's so many pivotal moments, but those are the ones that stick out.
That's beautiful. I love that, especially when you're talking about wives and kids and all that good stuff. Because again, this little co-host right here, she is busy, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right. No, and it goes so quick.
It does. I love it. Well, you guys, this is wonderful. Claudio is the perfect example of you can have it all. You can do whatever it is that you set your mind to. And I love that you've given us all of your experiences, and you've had these diverse experiences to really prove to people you don't have to stick to just one thing. If you have a lot of dreams in your head, you have a lot of goals in your head, you can achieve them, you can do them all if that's what you want to do. But it's going to take some grit. It's going to take some work. It doesn't just happen overnight. So, but it's definitely possible. If there's one thing, Claudio, that you can leave the audience with, what would you tell them?
Life is tough. I've said all the good things, but I'll be honest, I've been through hell too. The rejections, the negativity, the ups and downs of a career, the ups and downs of life. My mom passed away at age 48. October 8th, 1988. And that killed me. My dad, thank you. And my dad, who I adored too, who worked incredibly hard for me, passed 2004, February 19th, 2004. And then again, the rejections and not knowing, are my dreams going to come true? All my friends were on their way and buying cars and getting married and buying homes and on their way to success. And me, I'm still chasing that carrot.
You felt left out, right?
Yeah. So what do I tell people? You can't, as cliche as it is, you can't give up. If you, the Italians say, if you get knocked down 6 times, you get up 7. By the way, I'm Italian. I don't know if you knew that or not. But
I kind of figured it out.
but you dust yourself off and you get up and you go. And it's hard. It is hard because, sometimes we are our toughest opponents, mentally. And I've been there too. I've done that. I'm human. Okay. But you just have to keep at it. If you really want something bad enough, or if you want, and also, like I said, I never wanted to disappoint my parents. Now I don't want to disappoint my wife and daughter. There has to be someone in your life that you don't want to disappoint. So, I worked incredibly hard. I studied so many people and had so many people have impact on my life. I mentioned Greg Norman, Alex Rodriguez, Magic Johnson, uh, uh, Mario Andretti. I can go on and on and on of the people Jim Valvano, who impacted my life from reading or studying them every day. And but basically, as corny as it sounds, as cliche as it sounds, things can happen in life for you in a good way, like they've happened for me. But you have to work hard. You have to have a goal. You have to be focused. You have to understand that you are going to get knocked down. You're going to get rejected, and it's how you deal with it. And life is hard. It is hard. It's great, but man, it can be tough. And you can get a lot of pebbles in the shoe. You just got to keep at it, as cliche as that is. And that's it. There's your answer to things in life. You just have to keep at it and try to have a good attitude, and just keep plugging away.
Trust me, I can relate. 2023 was a year. And so, it stretched me in many ways, but it also helped me to see things where areas of growth that I needed to work on. And so again, it didn't deter me from achieving the goals that I set out to achieve, but it just made me focus that much harder on getting there, on reaching that goal. So keep your head up, guys. If you got knocked down last year or at any point in trying to reach a goal, it is okay. It happens. But stay focused and make sure, like Claudio said, you have that network set up. His wife and his daughter were his inspiration. His parents were his inspiration when they were alive. And I'm sure they're still a big inspiration.
Very much so. Very much
even
so.
now that they're gone. They're his angels guiding him now.
Yes,
and
very
so,
much so.
Keep your head up, guys. Claudio, if anybody wants to get in touch with you for media, for landscaping, or for any of the things that you have going on, how do they contact you?
Well, best way is go to my website, and that's ClaudioReilsono.com. And even if you butcher the spelling, somehow it'll come to me. And there's everything right there. You can connect with me through email and everything, but my book, everything, ClaudioReilsono.com. And you can Google me and it'll lead to that. And that's the best way.
And again, his book is called Leading from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up. So check it out. I'm sure it's available on Amazon or anywhere you can purchase books, right?
Yes.
So check it out, guys. And thanks so much for tuning in today. And until next time, see you later, guys.
Thank you.